All right, what's up, y'all? So I figured I would just do a quick recap of how my weekend went and kind of everything I did, some extra costs that are kind of involved in what I did also. And then I also had one of my events got canceled, but that might have been a good thing after talking to them again. So anyway, last week I did that video where I showed you all kind of the breakdown of the cost of everything that I was doing for, which turned out to be, let's see, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. So I ended up having 3 events total, but I had a catering in there in the middle too. So anytime you guys can pick up a catering in the middle of where you're already doing a bunch of cooking, that's just a cherry on top, because especially if they're coming to pick it up from you and you don't have a whole lot of setup or anything to do, it's just like 40 people coming to a big party at someone's house. That's really like, because you can make up a third of the cost of a big cook for the week, or even sometimes cover the whole cost. If you just have like a Friday event and you have like one catering, that catering might cover the cost of all your food for both of those. And then once you go there, whatever you make is just all your profit. So anyway, I broke down what I spent last week in that video. It was right around $1,900. I went ahead and just rounded it up to an even 2,000 because I did buy. I went back to the store Saturday morning since my event got canceled, and I grabbed a whole another stack of the big pans. I go to Sam's or Costco and it's by the big pans, put stuff in for service. And then what I did, well, I did that. I picked up some more cheese and some other stuff, but then ended up not using all the food that I cooked. So I ended up taking like half of one of those 3 pork bellies and slicing it into slivers like I do, and then I put it in the freezer and cryovac. I had a $25 giant box of pasta that I for some reason bought and didn't need, and then also bought those 2 extra pork shoulders. So ended up being close to about $100 total. So I could knock that down to $1,900 to make it a little more accurate, which is fine. So real quick, go over what I did. So Thursday night, total brought in money-wise from that neighborhood event. If you're not doing neighborhood events, y'all are really missing out, especially if it's a big neighborhood. We only did like 40 transactions that night and ended up grossing for $1,410, which is a pretty good 3-hour little spot at a neighborhood. So, and we drove through the neighborhood on the way out, and I'm going back there in a few weeks, and I told my daughter, it was helping me out, I go, man, you think even 5% of the people who lived here even came? So everybody was talking about how great things were, which is cool, which hopefully means next time I'll have to bring even more. But I brought 3 briskets, and all I had left was it was a 1 pound 6 ounce hunk of brisket off of one of the points that I didn't end up selling. But I ended up doing a special with that on Sunday with some like scratch made queso, and I had about 14 orders of it in this big crock pot, and it was the first thing to sell out. So if you guys are ever wanting something good to do with some leftover brisket, or you probably even throw some pulled pork or anything in it, honestly, and you want a good recipe, hit me up. I'll tell you how I made it. It's literally from scratch. You're not taking Velveeta and Rotel and then throwing some meat in it. It's a lot better than that. People freaking loved it. So Thursday night was $1,410. Really good night. But then I went out to this place that I go to, the winery, on Saturday night, and I brought 3 full briskets, 2 full pork shoulders, a full pork belly, and then I brought 4 slabs of ribs, and I had all kinds of sides and stuff. I had 4 different sides also. But by the time we got done with that event, I didn't even have a bean left in the pan. Like everything got sold. It was freaking awesome. It was like 2 hours and 45 minutes of nonstop going at it. So my wife was ringing stuff up, putting tickets on my cutting board, and I was just slinging food out as fast as we can get it out the window. Ended up doing about $1,800 that night, which is it's one of the biggest. I've had a bigger day than that before, but that's my biggest one out there to date. So that was really cool. And then Sunday I went back over there and I did there's a fundraiser going on out there. So I ended up doing the fundraiser, and somehow I rang $1,200 that day, and then I had a full brisket left, so I brought 3 there. And there's a buddy of mine who actually does, he's Clint the Barber, who's got Thompson Brothers Cubanos. They have a food truck too. And I've been making briskets for him and doing wholesale. And the wholesale briskets, I give him a pretty good deal on it. But anyway, I had a whole one left, and he's like, I'll take that brisket. So I sliced it up for him and cryovac'd it and sent it to him. But he makes a barbecue cubano that is like killer. So I'm gonna go and get one of those on Saturday from him. So anyways, just doing these rough numbers and kind of seeing what I did with the catering. The catering it was actually for 30 people, and it was $525. I did some specialty items for them. I do some smoked burgers, like all the meat that I take. So I don't make sausage yet. So all the meat that I take from the briskets that I make, the mohawks and different ends of the flat, things you're trimming off to make them look nice, parts of the point. I always grind those up and throw them in the freezer. And whenever I have someone who requests some burgers, I'll make burgers out of them. And they're just awesome. I'll make them big old fat 8-ounce patties, throw them on the smoker closest to the fire. And once they hit like 135 degrees, pull them off, put some cheese on them, and then wrap them up. And I serve them up to them. Like, they take them home and dress them up however they want. So that's a great way to use all that extra meat. You honestly could use that for your queso too if you have extra meat. Just don't be throwing that shit away. That's a waste, a total waste of money, because that's free money, because the briskets are already paid for, and you just have the trimmings, so you can just make whatever you want out of them. So when you add up all the things that I did, it was like $5,055, and then you go back through and you have my expenses were $1,900. Plus, I did at the deal on Sunday, I donated $100 in the pot for them. So it makes my expenses, if you want to call it that, up to $2,000. So the total money that I made, that I ended up making for myself, that was like pure profits, was $3,055. That is not every week. I wish it was every week, but no one's that busy. If you are that busy, kudos to you. I'm trying to get there, but this is my first real season of doing this, so you know, I'm just learning the ins and outs of how to do stuff. Sunday, when I was up at that place at the winery, my daughter was running the window, and she had a friend up there helping us out who was simply taking the food that I was putting into the serving containers, traying them up, and then sending them out and calling out names. That alone, I calculated how much time that saved me in about a 3-hour span. That alone saved me between 15 and 25 minutes of extra work that takes away from your efficiency when you're trying to get food out the window. So that was a pretty big deal. And anytime I can get, I have a busy place I know is going to be, and she can help, we're going to try to have her in the window also. That was really nice. If I can get her to garnish all the stuff that goes out too with pickles and onions, that'll save me even more time. Because I got to the point where it was so busy tonight, I just stopped doing pickles and onions because I didn't have time to go back over and keep grabbing stuff. So anyway, that was a busy week. I love weeks like that. I've got a decent one coming up this weekend. I've got an event on Friday, and then I've got a big lunch event. And the other thing, if you can get corporate paid events where you basically just keep a running tally in your window of a cash transaction and they're paying for it, you know, 100% be honest with them. But like that's a great way, because that's going to make me so efficient, where all I'm doing is recording stuff in my POS system, and then I'm making food. I'm not having to like have them get, you know, pay with their card and go through everything. It's just going to be a lot smoother transaction. Then all you do is give them an invoice at the end of the day. You fill out a W-9, do a couple things, and then they send you your money. I have a girl coming over tonight from an event I did that was 2 weeks ago, and she's bringing me a check from that one because she lives close over here. So those are great events too. But anyway, I wanted to kind of give you some insight to what a busy week could bring. If you have the proper setup and you've got good connections with some places, because I've had weeks where I've had 3 events before, and a couple of them were just straight up duds. And you go there and you're like, damn, I rang $300 today. Like that's not shit. I have not ever just broken even. I've always seemed to make money, but I've also got another fallback that a lot of places people don't do. So I'm giving out all these tips today. Hopefully y'all can share this with your friends who do this, or even, you know, something you can maybe take away from it. My neighborhood has what's called the Raintree Lake Foodie page, and the Foodie page was started by a guy who has a catering business, but he was always selling stuff on there, and that's kind of how I started. I was like, well, if he's selling stuff on there and I've seen what he's got, I'm gonna do the same thing. So I started selling barbecue on there. I was just doing meat by the pound. I wasn't even serving sides. But when I get back in town after an event and I've got leftovers, I'll post up, hey, I'm putting everything in cryovac. I've got 3 pounds of brisket, 1 pound of pork shoulder, some pork belly, and then whatever sides I've got. And then people just start DMing me, excuse me, to either pick it up that night if I have a lunch event, or come by the next day and pick it up. And I don't charge quite as much as I do on the truck when I'm doing it like that, because you know, you really just want to offload a lot of this. You don't want to keep all your leftovers all the time unless you have something good to mix with it. But that's another thing. If you don't have that type of thing in your neighborhood and you want to, you should start it, because if you start it, that could get the ball rolling for extra sales on some stuff. So anyway, that's the quick breakdown of what I did for the weekend, the whole week, I mean, and a lot of shopping involved. I didn't quite calculate all my hours involved with all my cooking, because I cooked twice, and I didn't get everything involved with how long it took me to go. I think it took me 6 hours of shopping that day. So all that involved, and then the work time in the window as well. So that's kind of roughly what you can make. That is not me calculating my 3% that is charged through my processing fee. And then I also paid my daughter a total of $100. No, wait, no, that was this week. I paid her a total of $100. Give her $50 for each 3-hour session that we do, because if I sell out, giving her $50 is pretty good for 3 hours. It's more than she makes at her real job, her other job she has. And then her friend, I gave her $50 too, because just being that much more efficient was just really nice. I didn't have to worry about anything. So anyway, sorry, I got a little something in my throat out here today. But if you take anything away from this at all, like, subscribe, share with your friends. Let me know what you think about these tips and tricks and kind of what I did. I'm not going to keep doing this every week and show you all what I make, but I just wanted to give you an idea, some insight into what you can make on a busy weekend if you have something good going. So it's all about networking. I'm always networking everywhere I go, trying to get things done. I mean, the lady at Costco, in that video I posted last week, the lady at Costco contacted me, and I'm going to go up there in a few weeks and do a lunch deal. So it's like, you just never know. So always be on the lookout. Always do that. Appreciate it. Y'all have a good week.